So today we're going to talk about tides. So if you've ever been to the beach, if you've ever been to the ocean, you've noticed the tide happens where the ocean meets the sand. And sometimes if you go out, it's super high, it's super far up the sand that the ocean meets it. The water goes all the way to it. And sometimes it's super low and the water doesn't come up nearly as far as it had earlier in the day. So tides are completely dependent upon gravity from the moon and the sun. So it's kind of crazy to think that the moon and the sun, that their gravity impacts our tides. And so they're on a schedule based on how the moon rotates. Some that lets you know when you're going to have high tide and when you're going to have low tide. But why is it important to know when you're going to have high tide, when you're going to have low tide? Who does it matter to? It really matters to fishermen and people on boats. If they're wanting to go out and catch fish, they need to make sure that there was a picture in that it will be in your PLP lesson of a boat that got stranded because it docked at high tide, and then when low tide went out, there was no water under it anymore. So it's super important to know when your tides are going to hit so that you know when it's safe to have a boat in the water so you don't get stranded, and also to know when your best time to go out and catch your fish or whatever seafood you're going after is. So tides are, even though it's sun and moon gravity, it's mostly the moon. And so the moon is pulling the water back to itself with its gravity, and that's what causes our high tides and our low tides.